Hello, water signs. Happy Friday morning and welcome to your daily focus tarot. So for you today, we have the Chariot and the Six of Wands. Now the Chariot talks about putting yourself into balance, your ego and your unconscious, aka your shadow side. So the stuff that you like about yourself and the stuff that you don't like about yourself, this talks about putting those into balance, and then once you've gotten that totality of self, that wholeness to yourself, using that to help guide you and steer you to where you want to go. The Chariot is all about willpower and using your willpower. But in order to fully use your willpower, you have to be whole. You can't be going one way with your unconscious desires and then going the other way with your conscious ego state, with the conscious self, right? You have to have both of those under control and balanced in order to gain that willpower to be able to steer your life in the direction that you want. So kind of work on, if you're having trouble acknowledging your unconscious desires, unconscious desires in the shadow self would be things that we want to repress about ourselves. Not just memories, but maybe somebody says something and we fly off the handle in anger, and we don't like that about ourselves. The way to deal with that is to look at it and be like, well, why did I fly off the handle? I mean, I don't like that about myself, but why did I do that? To really look at that. So that's called doing the shadow work. That's just one scenario. Another scenario can be like any sort of addiction, like overspending, overeating, obviously the smoking, drinking, that sort of thing. But there are other more subtle things that are shadow work, things that are like reactions to situations, trauma work, any sort of childhood trauma work or adult trauma work. That's also dealing with the shadow self. Now, the clarifier was the Six of Cups, and this can represent childhood. So it can represent doing that shadow work from childhood, right? It can represent nostalgia and joy, being happy with what you have currently, which can harken back to, in terms of the shadow, it can harken back to addictions like overspending or overeating or overdrinking, that type of thing. So the Six of Cups is saying, have joy in your life, be present in the present moment, not in the past, not in the nostalgia. If there's something that you want to bring forward from that past, it's okay, but don't like sort of wallow in the past. Don't like spend all your time there and be like, things were better. They weren't necessarily better. Maybe it's just this one thing that you like that was better. But to me, it's more talking about having to do this work in regards to figuring out what truly brings you joy but isn't harmful for you, in order to be able to steer yourself and guide your life to where you want it to go. Now, Six of Wands, this talks about a victory, and it's a victory based on your personal definition of success. So it's not a victory based on what other people define as success. It's how you define success. It also talks about leadership towards this victory. So just like the Chariot, it's talking about being your own leader, being your own, if we were talking about childhood trauma, it would be talking about being your own parent. Excuse me for a sec. I need a sip of date coffee. So, King of Swords in the reverse is the clarifier, and I asked for a clarifier on the King of Swords, and we got Ace of Cups. Now, this personal victory, Ace of Cups, this is a new beginning, and it's a new beginning. Sorry about the dog there. I don't know if you heard that on camera or not. But the Ace of Cups, this is a new beginning towards romance. Aces are potential. They're a promise. They're a beginning. This is a beginning towards romance, towards creativity, fruitful dreaming. So sometimes it can be about achieving your dreams. The problem is this King of Swords in the reverse. This could be pretty mild. It could be just an indecision. You're very indecisive about where to go. So this Chariot, focusing on it and focusing on doing this inner work to get yourself in balance so that you can guide the Chariot, that could help with this indecision. Assuming this is about indecision. The other meanings for this in reverse are about being manipulated, and air signs got a very sort of being manipulated type of reading too. Being manipulated by somebody who's misusing their power. They're thinking about how they can plan to get away with stuff, and they're being really calculated in how they do it, and so that leads to them being manipulative and cruel and abusive. So if this is about a romance, really look at this person and what they're doing. If it is about you getting this new beginning, this new creativity, this new start that you want, and that's your definition of success, then it's talking about you being indecisive. At the bottom of the deck, we have Seven of Swords, which talks about being persistent. It talks about... Yes, hi there, little buddy. Puppy's in the room. It talks about being persistent. You'll notice that this has a dog and a cat hat. So it's a dog in cat's clothing. It also talks about sometimes how you feel justified in the actions that you take to defend yourself and taking the higher ground. I would be very careful because of the King of Swords in reverse. Ten of Pentacles, this is an ending and beginning in terms of physical things, so like health and jobs, careers, but it's also a card of satisfaction and leaving a legacy. So being on solid, stable ground enough to leave a legacy. Let me see, how deep? 10 of Wands. Okay, 10 of Wands. Like I said, ending and beginning because it's a 10. And this talks about... It talks about your soul's fulfillment. It talks about... because the wands are about spirituality. They're about who you are at your core. So it talks about being satisfied with what you've done. He's just getting pets. Sorry. So it talks about like what you've done and being satisfied with that in terms of your spiritual work and in terms of letting go of all these negative thoughts, these negative, like doing it all, having to be perfect, feeling stressed out, overworking, that type of thing. You're letting that go and dropping that. Have a great Friday. I'll see you tomorrow.